That was real good. That was like, that was money, first of all. Let's do another one.
What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight, and you are watching The Real Review 3000 here with our first Star Trek discussion on this channel. I know I've been over on Rosetta's channel talking Star Trek, and every once in a while it'll come up in other things we do on Chaos Central and other people's streams. But today we're doing it here. Let's go ahead and talk to the people who are here with me. First, we're going to go to Maahr. Maahr, please tell everybody about yourself and where they can find you.
Oh, well, mostly on Rosetta's stream, because so far I didn't manage to get my own stuff up and running, as I would like to. But you can also find me on Sci-Fi Nation or DJ Odyssey.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm over, I think DJ Odyssey's channel is where I occasionally am at when Star Trek comes up. Typically, what's wrong with it today, but you know, that's how it goes. So up next, we have Rosetta. Rosetta, tell everybody about yourself, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Pretty simple. Just look for Rosetta Allen. You can't miss me or my mouth. True words not spoken. And mostly I do art stuff and occasional panels and stuff. Then promoting it when I can. I know who's actually out there trying to make their own art instead of just complain.
Okay. Well, that made it way too simple and quick. You could talk longer, you know.
Well, sorry about that today.
She's like, I'm not used to being told that.
No, I'm not. I'm used to people going, geez, don't you ever shut up, you bitchy woman?
You know, that's how it goes. All right. Well, let's just go over this. Today, what we're going to talk about is our favorite Star Trek movies. Now, Captain Trek, you're in the chat, but you know, in the Star Trek chat that we have on Twitter, the link is in there if you want to join us. If you don't, well, fine, be that way. No. So, no, I want people to join us. I do. I really do. But let's go ahead and let's talk about our favorite Star Trek movie or movies. If you got a couple you want to put in there, that's fine. And I am including the new ones. If anybody wants to be brave enough to say that those are their favorites. But go ahead. Maahr, what is your favorite Star Trek movie or movies?
Well, my favorite would be The Voyage Home, but I also like The Search for Spock.
Nice. I would say The Search for Spock is not always on a lot of people's radar.
No.
But I do give you lots of credit for putting that there. And then The Voyage Home, it's not going to be one of my favorites. It might be in a sense, but I'm going to put two out there, and that's not going to be one of them. But I do like that. So yeah, and that's very good. Tell me why. First off, let's start with the Search for Spock. Why is that your favorite?
Well, in The Search of Spock, we have this whole story about Kirk going on with Spock, and he not really knowing about the Vulcans and that they can do that what Spock did with McCoy. So yeah, I think that is a very deep connection between the three of them that actually shows more of them being more like a family than just friends.
Indeed.
And I like that.
No, it was a great movie, and I said this about most of the original movies. I don't know about so much with Star Trek: The Next Generation, those movies, because people were just, they jumped right on those because it was not that long after the series that they started doing those. So it was it was really, you know, and one of those things that the original Star Trek movies did a really good job of saying to the old fans from the TV series. They're like, you know, these characters, we're not going to bore you with all the exposition, but for the new guys who've never seen this, we're going to make this like right from the beginning. Because when in Star Trek, in the first one, they introduced and took a lot of time to introduce everybody to show off the Enterprise and all that for the people who had never watched it before. But the people who had watched it were able to follow it really easily and enjoy the movie still. That was the best thing about the original 6 movies. I don't know if you think that or not, but I think it was really interesting with Spock is that you get to see a lot more background about his people and stuff with the search for Spock. Don't everybody talk at once.
I was just thinking, one of the great things with Search for Spock is it did go more into just straight brutality. It did show that the Klingons that he was dealing with didn't even obey Klingon honor codes. They were all about self.
Well, they were more like, I guess, soldiers of fortunes or pirates than anything.
Right, it was kind of like you took like the Ferengi greed and mixed it with pirating Klingons. Yeah.
And I do like, I mean, I guess he might be a little overplaying it, but Christopher Lloyd as a Klingon is really good, though.
He was.
It's like a guilty pleasure because I think he overplays it a little bit, but it's not too much. Hey, Austinator, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat.
It also, to me, with that one, showed more of the consequences of playing God than the Wrath of Khan did, because they go into it breaking down the damage it's causing and stuff like that more.
Yeah.
Because Genesis wasn't stable.
No, that's a good thing too. Yeah. I mean, because at the end of 2, you get the feeling like, oh, everything's okay. It built this plan. But again, I think it was also built in a supernova, not anything stable. And like they said, it was designed to put life where there was none. And I think the material from the supernova, when it got mixed with the Genesis effect, that's what accelerated it. Yeah. So, but it's interesting because with 3, you get to see that. Captain, what's going on? Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, Maahr, with the Voyage Home, Star Trek 4, what makes that another one of your favorites?
That makes another one of my favorite because it showed the destruction of Earth, kind of, by killing off creatures that lives here. In that case, it was whales.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this unnatural, not really unnatural, but this super being coming to Earth and threatening to destroy Earth if it doesn't get an answer.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Now you have the crew from Captain Kirk back in time to save Earth by stealing whales, which I thought was a very amazing idea, and it was very big with Scotty giving someone the plans for this
transparent aluminum.
Yes.
Transparent aluminum. Yes.
I think it was really funny because they're sitting there and they give him this. They make this compound or this thing, and Bones looks at him and he's questioning. He's like, "Well, we shouldn't be doing this because this is something from the future, and we're giving it to this guy." And then Scotty just the easiest fix you could ever make for how you can do something in time travel but not screw up everything else is, well, who says he didn't do it anyways? So
how do we know he didn't invent the stuff? You know?
Yeah, it's like that's so funny. And then the mouse, the whole thing. Try using the mouse. How quaint. Hello, computer.
Yes.
I do love that. That one does such a great job of showing how out of place they all are, and the fact that Spock is still kind of learning, and they basically make him a hippie. It's like
you have to hide those.
Yeah.
What? The ears.
and his quick thinking, just like, okay, boom, rips his robe and then ties it around, and they're in San Francisco, so it's perfectly good. And then the whole whatever, the double cursing and stuff like that. When
Double time ass on you.
yeah, it's just it's. And then the glasses that he sells, or is it glass? Yeah, the old glasses he has that he sells at the pawn shop. And when Spock looks at him, didn't McCoy give those to you as a birthday present? He says that's a great thing. He'll do it again or something like that. It just the cool little ideas that they came up with to acknowledge.
The thing is, what I probably laughed the most about was Bones in the hospital, as he said, "How barbaric!" What is that? The Middle Ages?
What is this? The Middle Ages? I love, DeForest Kelley, and all of them back then. DeForest Kelley was just such. And the only thing I will say about the new Star Trek is, I think most of the faults are in the writing, because the characters that they found, the people that play the characters, are spot on perfect in my opinion. Just the way they look, I think they did a really good job in casting. I just think most of the faults with the new movies are in writing, like most new Star Trek, it seems to be. Okay, well, that's great. I like those two movies a lot. Let's see here, Captain. Since you just came in, let's go ahead and go to you. What is your favorite Star Trek movie and or favorite Star Trek movies? I'll give you two. I'll let you pick two if you'd like.
Okay. Honestly, I would have to pick Wrath of Khan and Star Trek VI.
Very good. The Undiscovered Country. Okay, well, let's just do this. Those are my two picks. I'll just say that right now. So, I like the Next Generation stuff. It's just, I don't think as good as the original Star Trek movies. Now, with Star Trek VI, let's start with the Undiscovered Country. Why is it one of your favorites?
Well, the fact that it's exploring the Klingons really for the first time in the original cast, where you're talking about going into peace and negotiations for, people who've been at war for so long that, really nobody can remember. But, any time before that.
I liked the fact that they interject some cool placement with Worf in it as his, I think, great grandfather.
Right.
Yeah, and I love how they did that. That it starts right from the get-go, because we know that Worf and his family have kind of been considered outcasts of the Klingons for several reasons. But one of the things I liked about this movie is it shows one reason, or a reason, that they've been like this for a long time, because here's these people that are obviously going to be found guilty. They're not gonna let them off. I mean, they've been set up perfectly. They're going to be found guilty, and they hand him the job to defend them. Well, of course, and even in today's world, in the human world, there are some people who are undeniably guilty, and when you become the defense attorney, the whole world turns against you. But it's just your job, and you have to go and try to. I mean, think of Timothy McVeigh had a defense attorney. John Gacy, all the serial killers, they all have defense attorneys, because that's how our system works. You have to have a defense attorney. But even if they know you're guilty, they have to sit there and try to give some, some vein of innocence, or some vein of why we're not going to kill them or something, and that's going to be tough. And so here he's just thrown basically what's a show trial, and he's on the losing end of it. So I think that's a very cool thing to see, because that was one of my favorite parts of that. Go ahead.
No, I love the trial. You know, how and they were, you know, like they told McCoy, hey, don't wait, you know, answer, don't wait for the interpretation. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know. I remember having the magazine they released before the movie came out that showed all the little cool stuff behind the scenes and stuff like. And I can't remember what his name is, but the Klingon that was on the ship that took command of the ship after the main Klingon there. And I'm sorry, I'm not getting names because it's been so long since I've actually watched it. But the one that wore the eye patch, that eye patch, if you didn't know, actually, I think had the Klingon symbol on each one of the bolts on the end of it. I remember things like that. They had a lot of cool stuff about that movie. And that was like, it was a big deal for me because it was like the first one I remember, like, my decision to go see it. My mom had taken me to see 3. She'd taken me to see The Voyage Home. And I think we went to, what was 5's tag? I can never remember. What was 5's tag? What was 5 called? Rosetta?
Undiscovered Country.
No, that's 6.
No, 6. Now you've got me all distracted because I'm laughing.
Final Frontier.
Final Frontier, yes.
You got me so distracted laughing at it, I can't even think anymore.
But with that one, I think my mom took me to go see that. But 6 was the one I chose to go, and I went by myself with a friend, and that was just this big deal because we went on the opening night of it. But 6 was beautiful, just how they did it, and it was kind of rougher and rawer than some of the others. Some of the others were more polished, but I liked how it looked because the Enterprise was the way that it was refitted made it look more military, and I don't know. There's a lot of cool things about that. So, Captain, anything else about 6 that really stood out for you?
I would say really just the fact that it reunited the crew for one last time.
Cool. All right, so then Wrath of Khan. And you guys, you can jump in on this, on any of these that you want. You're more than welcome to. So what was it about Wrath of Khan that really you liked? Captain?
Well, I guess the one thing was the fact that it brought the crew back together. I'll be back.
Okay.
There, I can go ahead and get into Wrath of Khan a bit on things. I'll just take a breath a second. One of the things I liked about Wrath of Khan is it really went into a lot of the literary referencing and stuff, historical, the psychological reasons of obsession and hatred and all that stuff, which was a lot more the intellectualism that can be masked in the action, can be masked in the deep philosophical issues. And that's what I always liked in Star Trek, that you had the intensity, you had the action, you had the moments, but it was intellectually driven. And I think Wrath of Khan is really one of the best representations of that because of all of the referencing to psychology and literature that they used.
Oh, agreed. And the fact that they brought back a character that was, really, you never thought would ever come back. And all of a sudden, you find out all these years later, whoops, maybe we should have checked up on him.
Well, the line that's, okay, so if you, again, I mentioned this already, one of the things I really love about the original movies is that if you've never watched Star Trek, you could still go watch Wrath of Khan. They rehash just enough for you to be able to understand what's going on. Hey, Nindroid, how you doing? But the but this is really cool if you have seen the original. Because here's the thing: if you remember, the final line that Spock says in that episode is, "It would be interesting to come back in 75 years and see what this planet's like." And then we come back to it, however many years later they're trying to make it. But it's really interesting that they do that, and then you see how bad everything is. And I know that Khan blames Kirk, but Kirk would have no real belief or have anything to justify that he should have thought that would have happened. I mean, I guess, in the universe that we live in, everything could do that immediately. I mean, it could change, but
biggest flaw Kirk had was that he didn't keep his promise to check in and make sure they were okay.
But again, I always dismiss that, because here's the thing: why are you going to go back and
meant it though? But
well, no, that's the thing. You're telling him that to get him off the ship that he's just tried to take. You're trying your hardest to get him off of a ship. Yeah. So here's the thing: he's only saying that just to kind of get him going and go.
Agree with that.
Because you're never going to go back and check on somebody that's tried to steal a starship from you and try to mutiny your crew or get people to turn against you and take over. I mean, it just. But the funny thing is this is a rehashing almost of that episode, but in a way that's new enough that, again, Star Trek fans love the movie, but if you'd never watched Star Trek, or if you started only with the movies, you were perfectly fine with this. You could follow it, no problems. And again, in one, it's like you're meeting everybody again, but for us, it's like, oh, here they all are again. And the introductions is more, where are they now, as much as it is, this is who these people are. So it worked for both sets, which you don't get that anymore. Like take the new trilogy of Star Wars. The way they introduced those characters and the way they introduced the new characters, it's clunky. It wasn't like that with the Star Trek movies.
Well,
and even the Next Generation ones, it wasn't clunky.
That's what I try to explain to people. The big issue I get into with these new ones is that they put so much into special effects that they don't do good character building. And that's what really irritates me the most. I want the character building. I want the really deep, well-introduced, all of that. I want to understand the psychological development of the character, and I don't see that in most modern movies. And it's not just Star Trek, Star Wars.
No.
It's in the general.
With the characters. Sure. But I want to say, Chris, you said that he just wanted to get Khan off his ship. But I think that Kirk really did tell Starfleet that they should check on them.
He may have done that, but again, if you think of... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
As I say, if he wouldn't be able to, because he was on a 5-year mission.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he would have told Starfleet to check on them.
So is it Starfleet's fault?
I think so.
Okay, because I mean, I can imagine that, but you got to think Starfleet's busy. They're doing all this stuff, and as years go by, they're meeting all these new alien races that they have to interact with and figure out how to interact with them, how to possibly involve them in the Federation of Planets, and it's kind of like that that piece of paperwork that gets lost in the shuffle, and then 16 years down the line, here you are, and you're like, well, I gave you that, and then they're like, well, we don't have it.
In the end, it was Chekhov who's getting back there, and he should actually know the planet. Well, he should say, wait, there was something.
You would think that, but remember, they think it's City Alpha 5.
6.
No, I thought it was City Alpha 6 is where they dropped them.
No, Ceti Alpha 5 is where they were dropped off. Ceti Alpha 6 blew up 6 months after they were left there.
Yeah, and the thing is that's what Chekhov thinks it is, if I remember right.
They think it's Ceti Alpha 6, which I'm not sure why, why Ceti Alpha didn't ring a bell.
I think they thought they were fine going to the planet next to it, but my question is, did they really not notice that the planets were moved and didn't make sense?
It depends on how far away they were. Remember, there's lots of excuses you can make for that, like your star charts.
Trying to be charting space and learning about these new areas. They went to this area, they put somebody there, and they didn't chart it well enough to notice a planet's missing. That's a little weird.
If you haven't had any scout ship out there since you did that, there would be no way of updating it. It's not like you. I mean, there's no supernova there. There's no star that was made because of collision. There's nothing else except for what it did is it reversed the orbit or the rotation, didn't it? Isn't that what happened?
My point was, you would think they would at least notice on their star chart that, wait a sec, there's supposed to be one more planet in this line.
It depends. Okay, yes, possibly, but the thing is Chekhov is here. He may not. It depends. You'd think he might, but he may not. Because it isn't until he gets down there that he remembers.
There are things that don't make sense. And to me, that one doesn't, because the perfection level that they're supposed to do in their charting and exploration should have noticed that when they were actually supposed to be working on one of the planets.
Hey, Deshaun, how you doing? Thank you guys for being here. All of you that are in the chat and watching, please do me a favor. Make sure you check out these guys. After this video is over, when it finishes processing, I'll make sure I get everybody's links into the description. Rosetta, I understand that. It just still, I think maybe Chekhov just doesn't show concern because perhaps he doesn't think that there's a need to be concerned. He's not the guy that's going to be checking the map per se. They're chasing. They're chasing a distress signal. And then when they do that, when they go down to the planet, as soon as he sees those shipping containers, I think he kind of starts thinking something's weird about this. And that's why when he's going in there and he's looking at the books and stuff and he's noticing all this stuff, and then he sees the botany bay and then he gets freaked out. I think the whole time he's adding things together and he finally realizes, oh shit, we got to get out of here. By that time, of course, it's too late.
Yeah, and I wasn't saying the fault was his specifically, but I'm saying that to me, the way they designed Starfleet to be so perfectionist did not make sense with missing something so glaring and obvious.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things. We lost Captain.
Well, Chekhov knew he was created to be superior.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's so funny because it's like he's from our time. It's basically like 21st century or 20. I think they said late 20th century.
Originally in the Star Trek series Enterprise, there they show up the first time, and Archer meets them, and he also meets their creator. So I'm not quite sure which time exactly it was, to be fair.
They hinted in the original storyline that it was supposed to happen in like 96.
Yeah, I think the 96 sounds about right. Let me look it up real quick here.
I think. Remember, I'm not good with names and numbers and recollection, so that's... But I was sure it was supposed to be in the 90s, and I thought it was 96.
Chris is looking it up.
Yeah, I'm going to look here. Let's see here. What time was Khan from... Let's see here. Okay, trying to find dates. Well, hell, we'll just go right here. It's from Space Seed. Okay, yeah, here we go. Khan had been both the most successful conqueror and most benign ruler of the group, ruling more than a quarter of Earth's area across Asia and Middle East from 1992 to 96.
Because I thought they said the exile was in 96.
With a firm but generally peaceful hand until he was deposed. While most supermen were killed or sentenced to death, Khan and 84 others escaped Earth by way of a sleeper ship, the SS Botany Bay. Botany Bay was discovered by the crew of the Starship Enterprise in 2267. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if they even have a... You would think most of these people have, like, you know, active bios about the characters, but I guess they never really nailed it down. So if he was in charge from 92 to 96, according to this, it was probably sometime from the...
Yeah, because that's
probably late 70s.
It was that basically he had to take off right in 96, and I'm just trying to verify and remember the dates because numbers are not my thing.
They don't really give it any dates.
That was basically the best they gave him, is that that's when his rule got usurped and he had to flee.
Khan is one of a group of genetically engineered superhumans bred to be free of the usual human mental and physical limitations, who were removed from power after the eugenics war of the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably 70s. Okay, so yeah, so I think that the Wrath of Khan, though, I think why it's one of the best, if not the best, is simply because of the tie-in to the original series directly. And it shows the right way to do it, and then you go to, I think it was Into Darkness, that shows the wrong way to do it. Well,
yeah.
You know, I don't mind any of the new ones as far as popcorn films to watch. I just have to really just pull myself away from being able to do that. Do me a favor, guys. Talk for just a second.
I haven't listed my favorites yet.
Well, go ahead and do that. And I got to take a phone call, so
but
go ahead.
It's actually interesting because it kind of basically my favorites are between you two, because it is Khan, A, for one of them, and the other's Voyage Home. And that was Voyage Home was my naughty side because that was when I was little, and I was a bit of a crass-mouthed kid anyways, and I love Spock and his colorful metaphors and trying to learn how to swear. That was one of my favorite scenes growing up. It really, really was. And so I absolutely always loved that, because Khan is the only one that ever had anything in any movie that actually creeped me out, and that was those stupid bugs. I have watched so many horror movies, including about bugs and mass killers and other stuff. None of them creep me out. Those stupid bugs in Wrath of Khan do.
Well, understandable. Who wants to have a bug that climbs into your ear? Good.
Kind of the ultimate creepy version of an earwig, isn't it?
That's the thing that most people, I guess, are scared of, that something would climb up
I think
there.
it's also because they did the special effects with it really well, and the first time I watched it, I was really little.
Starts munching there. Just think about it. You have this nom-nom sound in your ear, and you are looking around and there is nothing where it comes from. And then you actually realize it's in your head and not outside of it. Oh, no. I get you there.
I'm trying to remember exactly how old I was. I had to be like 3 or 4 watching that with my mom.
Which one is that?
Wrath of Khan there.
Wrath of Khan.
And the bugs creeping me out.
Oh yeah, those bugs creep. I don't know anybody that says, "Oh yeah, it didn't
I have
bother
watched
me."
so many freaking horror movies and creeper movies, all this stuff.
None
of them affect me, but those bugs in Wrath of Khan always did.
It's because here's the thing: there's certain. If you're watching a horror film, you automatically kind of set yourself aside as this isn't real.
I really didn't as a kid when Grandma was watching them in the background, though.
I don't know. I that type of thing just bothered me because the reality that really can happen. Not necessarily the same type of bug, but bugs can get in your ear. There's a reality
to animated it and how well they explained it scientifically too.
If I remember right, they were casted ears that were blown up, so they were the same, and they were like, I want to say like 2 feet wide or something like that. And the bugs, I can't remember how they did that, but they really outdid themselves. They did a
gorgeous job on making it look realistic and creepy, and that was one of the things I remember that so little. But yeah, my favorite was that and Voyage Home. And Voyage Home was because I was very little and I was very crass, and I loved freaking Spock and his colorful metaphors. But if I actually had 3 here, because you've been trying to get people to do 2 at most, I always had a thing just for movie 2 through 4 together. I always liked watching them like a trilogy.
They very much are. I mean, so 1 sets itself apart from 2, but 2 moves to 3, moves to 4. And then, 5 and 6 are very much in the know of themselves. But I'm not sure how quickly they shot 2, 3, and 4 one to the next, because I think they were pretty close to each other, and they were like 2 years apart from each one or something like that. But it worked out really well.
Voyage Home was right in the middle of the 80s. I was a few years old at the time, and
I want to say it was 84.
If that, I know that, but I mean, I remember watching those like a trilogy together with my parents so many times when I was so little, and they just always had a soft spot for me for those 3 together.
Oh, sorry, 86. So actually, that's 4 years.
I thought I was right. It was when I was 2.
Yeah, but okay, but I'm thinking of maybe it was The Search of Spock. I'm thinking of.
I like that I'm actually getting a few of these right.
Yeah, that's right. So I was thinking of the next one after that. So Search of Spock is 84, then 86. So it was 2 years in between each one. But so
yeah, so that was always my soft spot, was that whole as a trilogy.
Yeah, and Danny says The Search of Spock was his favorite, and I like The Search of Spock.
I love it.
I just don't know. I don't know. I remember that they switched up. Oh shoot! What was the other Klingon? The female in that. What was her name? Christy Alley was the character. That played the character in 2. Let's see here. Let's go to Wrath of Khan and look up her name.
Christy Alley played a Vulcan.
Yeah, she did. And that was the biggest problem, because and the whole cast even talked about it. Let's see here. Let me look her up. Christy Alley Savick. That's right.
I just said it twice before you looked it up, and you didn't even hear me.
No, because you were quiet. So Savick. The problem was that the scene at the end, everybody really did cry, because it was one of those things that just nobody thought that character would be killed off. And when they did it, and the whole thing where they do the funeral, she couldn't keep her emotions. And so she cries. You can actually see that she cries. Well, she's a Vulcan. So the lady that they got to play Savick in 3 was she was much more cold-hearted at the way that it was portrayed, more like a Vulcan. So that was the best part about it, is that they switched it up. But I do like how the Klingons are chasing after them, because they look at Kirk as a trophy. I like the fact that they make the decision to destroy the Enterprise. Of course, the Enterprise had just been shot to hell by Khan, so there wasn't much that they could do, I don't think. Plus, They were just, themselves, so they didn't have a full crew to work on it. There were some really cool things in The Search for Spock. 2, 3, and 4 were good. Don't care for the first one. That's what a lot of people say. Darth, how you doing?
Fine.
Penny!
Mentally exhausted because I've been doing calculations all day.
Oh, joy. Danny, you're right. 2, 3, and 4 were good. I liked the first one in its own way.
I think 1 was better than people give it credit for, but they tried so much to try to play on the member berries and the episodic that they made it a bit too slow.
It was slow, that's for sure.
Wasn't it also like that episode with Nomad?
Yeah, it was somewhat, if I remember right. So
Jerry Goldsmith's score was beautiful in that movie, though.
Yeah. Okay, so Rosetta 2 and 4, but 2 through 4 really is what your favorites are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got okay, here are mine.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh
6.
No! I said 2. I let her get away with the 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna hold you to 2.
Fuck. Fine. 2 and 8.
Ooh. And 8 was, let's see,
First Contact.
First Contact, yeah, because it started out with Generations and then it went to First Contact. So you're gonna dive into the Next Generation. So let's start with that one since we haven't talked about that. Let me know why that's your second favorite or favorite. Which is your more favorite? 2?
I hold 2 and 8 equally.
Okay. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, really?
8 was Next Gen's Wrath of Khan.
It wasn't in some ways because they both played a lot on the whole Ahab thing.
Mm-hmm. Although I still maintain that the biggest flaw of that movie was moving the Borg away from the program structure that they had in the Best of Both Worlds with root command sub-processes and processes for the sub-process, and then they're like, oh, it's just a mechanical insect hive.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think what they tried to do is give it a give the central processing unit, the CPU, the core of the Borg. They gave it that same treatment that all the other Borgs had.
So the Queen was the root command.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And I don't think they took it away from that. They just explained it more so people who may not, people who hadn't watched it religiously probably understood it a little better. Okay. Maybe. I guess I could kind of look at it like that.
Hang on a minute. I am getting a phone call. I have to mute myself.
You're good. What do you guys think about that, about First Contact?
I mean, I liked it. I honestly, my favorite part of it is actually her antagonizing him. You broke your little ship.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I've never read it. I just like that she got him so good, and she didn't even hardly know what she was referencing. To me, that was she brought down his intellect, and she didn't even know what she was talking about hardly. I just love that.
What are you shaking your head at, JJ? I gotta know what JJ is shaking his head at. Come on, JJ. Tell me. And comic chat, yes, I do like that when at the very end of 3, where he pulls his hood down and he looks and says, Jim, your name is Jim. The ship is safe? Yeah. I am and always shall be your friend. I do like how they did bring that back around very well. Maahr, what do you think about First Contact?
Hmm.
Boy, odd.
Yeah, as I say, I'm more like the originals.
Mm-hmm.
For me, in First Contact, it was a little bit too much going to this. I do not want to say political statement for being more healthy, but because I'm not sure if it is a political statement at that point. But yeah, you see that even Starfleet would do anything to keep themselves alive longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a little bit overdoing it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Darth, are you back? Uh-oh. Maybe not. He's here, and he's not muted anymore, but maybe he's not there. Let's talk about the generation movies a little bit, though. I think that since there, again, I mentioned this before, that there wasn't that gap between the series and the movies, that it kind of, I think, played better for more audience. Like, there were more people who were willing to go see that, and that the original movies had to build that fan base.
But I also think the original movies did something more profound with that because of that. They came back to something from the past and brought it to a new generation to help introduce this new series and all this work. Whereas the other just kind of was playing on the fact that it was the really popular thing in the 90s with lots of movies and lots of shows.
Yeah, I kind of see that, but I don't think that when...
Hello. I am back.
Okay. I'm going to finish what I have to say, and then I'll come back to you again. I don't think that Roddenberry started the original movies to start Next Generation. I think when he got to 4 and 5, he saw how many people were wanting this, and he's like, I can come up with a new model based off of this model.
I'm not saying it was intentionally done, though.
Okay.
That's what it did, is it brought something from the past alive to a new generation and ended up bringing out an era that was a beautiful geek era.
Yeah, no, I can see that. So, all right, Darth, is there anything else you'd like to say about First Contact?
James Cromwell as Severin Cochrane was excellent casting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agree there.
Yeah. I do like that part about it. It is a sub-story.
Who's calling me turn off my music?
Yeah. I do like that, though, because it's very... I mean, especially in this day and age right now where everybody is arguing over historical figures and should we remove monuments, should we not remove monuments. Well, this is a perfect example of what's real and what's not. You know, it's like they have this monument and they're talking about, they're telling him this,
statue.
The statue's right here. And and he's freaking out. He's like, I don't want that. I think it's really a really good thing to show that the way they do that. It's very interesting that here's the reality of this character. And here's what everybody thinks this character is. He's listening. What?
But it also shows that hero worship, even if it's a little off kilter, doesn't necessarily make an evil thing, too. And it can still celebrate something that was a part of that person.
That's kind of what I'm saying, is in today's age, think before you react. I mean, because what if they went back, and I know this is, but what if they went back within that universe and said, tear down that statue. We met the guy. He was a drunkard. He was a fluke. It was just, he wasn't even doing it to further humanity. He did it because he wanted money.
Money and chicks, actually, if you listen to everybody said.
Yeah, but that's my point, is that that's what gave people warp drive, was not even a purpose of doing it. It was just to do it to show off, to get somewhere with with chicks, and to make money.
But that's what most men do.
Well, okay, yeah, but that's my point. Is that George Washington's built up. He's the first president and all this. And now everybody's like, well, yeah, he owned slaves. Well, yeah, we know that. But does that make what he did less relevant? Those types of things. In today's climate, I think looking at something like First Contact, it's really an interesting play on that. And again, like I said, it's a sub-story within the story. And it's really a good way to do it.
And I find
it funny because it really did show that at the heart of most men is the desire for money and women.
But people would call that sexist. What was that?
So what? And a lot of women are gold diggers.
I know. Okay, what was that, Maahr?
I have to excuse myself. I messed up because I mixed up First Contact and Insurrection.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you now. Yeah, but
are you kidding me? So, how dare you?
Okay, so I'll let you talk a little bit about the Wrath of Khan. Also, we've already. I mean, I think. Yeah, it was one of mine, and so is the Undiscovered Country. But you have Wrath of Khan there, and you say it's equal to 8. I personally would disagree. I like 8, but I think the Wrath of Khan is a much more solid film.
I agree. I guess, when I say I think they're equal, I say they're equal in terms of, how much I personally like.
Well, no, and that's fine. No, and I'm not telling you you're not right, because,
right.
Of course, it's your opinion, and that's what this is about, so you're good.
Mm-hmm. And I think that comes more down to Wrath of Khan was the first Star Trek movie I actually saw. I remember back in high school, actually, my freshman year of high school, and I was sitting down with my best friend that I've known since forever, and we're still friends to this day, by the way, so he's this person who I grew up with, and we watched Wrath of Khan together, and it was my first exposure to Star Trek, and I'm like, oh, hey, that's awesome. Actually, no, that was more like my third exposure to Star Trek. My very first one was seeing the Nomad episode of TOS, and then the Apollo episode.
Yeah. I just remember the feeling of Wrath of Khan was like a nice little bow for all the people who had given their time, even if I don't think any of us were alive when the original series was on, but
nope.
they had it on VHS. They had they replayed episodes a ton, and so those of us who were fans of the original series, it was like a nice little present with a bow around it saying, here, we're going to complete this story, because there's all this stuff that happened in the original series that they didn't actually get to finish because the show was canceled. I think if the show had gone on, they would have gone back to Khan. Quite possibly at the end of the 5th season. I mean, that would have been an epic season or series finale after 5 seasons, if you wanted to count that as the 5 years. That would have been an epic one. And unfortunately, today we don't have Gene Roddenberry around to ask him what would he have done had he had the other, I think, 3 seasons. So that's one of those things. I'm pretty sure if you ask his son, and they might have some idea. Maybe he had notes. Maybe they had series. I haven't really dug into that side of it very much. But I kind of had this feeling like Gene Roddenberry was like, this would have been what I would have done. Except for it would have been closer to when it all happened. Because even if they had come back at the end of season 5 and made that the series finale, they could have still done it, because they said 6 months after they left, it happened. So they could have done that in the original series had it gone a full 5 seasons or whatnot, which would have been, back in the 60s, 5 seasons would have been a very respectful run for any TV series. And, I mean, I mean, you think about the stuff that Rod and Mary did with the original series by putting, whatever you want to call African American, black, whatever. They had Arua, they had Chekhov, who was a Russian, which in the '60s, oh my God, he's a Russian. But they showed Gene Roddenberry took a chance, which could have exploded in his face, to make a Russian seem like a good person. Mm-hmm. You had Sulu. I mean, all of these, all of these characters, and show them as able to work together. That there was no different. I mean, even the fact that Kirk and Aurora got kind of hooked up. I mean, all of that. It was so revolutionary for the time, and somehow he didn't even blink at the thought, because the idea of the show is there is no difference between this person and that person. We are all equal, and he thought that back in the '60s. And yes, I know that this is during the race riots and the Civil Rights Act and all of that.
Sorry to disturb there, but the way I have heard it is that William Shatner actually said, "You bring in the kiss with me and Uhura, or I'm out."
And I'm sure he. I mean, we all know William Shatner kind of called a lot of the shots. I mean, because he automatically thought that when they changed Pike as the main guy after the pilot and gave him the main share, that he had it built in his head. And we can kind of see now, I mean, he still thinks he's in charge of Star Trek, because if you heard a few months ago, he said that he doesn't watch any of the new Star Trek. He doesn't care about it. It's irrelevant. That's because he's not in it. That's why he's saying that. He's like, "Oh, well, I'm not in it, so what does it matter?"
I don't think so. Cause I don't know if he watched.
But I don't think the reason he doesn't watch it is because he's not in it.
I think he knows it's shit.
Well, he might, but I still think.
What, did he not watch DS9, Voyager, or TNG? Or Enterprise?
I know he made a lot of stink about the fact that they never brought him onto the series. That's why when they were going to do the first movie, he pretty much interjected himself into it. There was talk that Sulu was supposed to be in it. Think about what he did with Undiscovered Country.
Okay, but to be fair...
Yeah, go ahead.
To be fair, if Kirk had showed up in TNG, it would either be a flashback, a recording, like historical footage.
They brought DeForest Kelly in.
Yeah, with a fuck ton of old person makeup on, because he was like 100 plus years old. Would Shatner really agree to
No, but he would have done. He would have agreed to say that he was vain enough. His character was vain enough that he would have had some sort of plastic surgery done to keep him looking a certain way. If he had been offered,
not just his character, he's already admitted he's had that in real life.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is that's what he would have wanted done. Is that some sort of reference like that would have been made. He made a stink about not ever being put on there, and it's noted that he made a stink about that, and that he wanted to be in that movie, and that he pretty much interjected and said, "I'm going to do this." He even pretty much told them how he wanted to die. He wanted to die the hero. To have a moment.
Right, but that one of the earlier scripts for Generations, I don't remember the exact specifics of it, but it did have Kirk in it. It did have everyone kind of in it from the get-go, and not like this separate, we're starting here, then we're moving 80 years later to there, and then da-da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember the specifics of this script, but it sounded a lot more cool, and it had Kirk going out in an arguably more heroic way.
I am going to comment that you are referencing, though, the stuff that he did with his ego in the 80s and 90s, when even his other castmates have said he grew up a lot since then.
Well, okay, put it this way. It was a little over a year, I think, before Nimoy died that they actually finally buried the hatchet about their...
Completely. They had been working together and becoming more friends for a while. They fully raced each other. Not.
But let me even point out how even to this day there's something about William Shatner, and I've met the guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. He's never said a bad word to me. The time that I've spent.
To some extent, everyone has a bit of an ego.
Yes, and I think it shows more
ego here. Come on, Chris.
No. Listen. I'm understanding of that, but what I'm saying is that he sometimes, to the detriment of the show or the movies, was the one that made certain decisions happen. In Undiscovered Country, Sulu had almost, if not a little more time in the captain's chair shown on screen, and Shatner said there's no way in hell he should have more time in the captain's chair in my movie.
Well, they more than made up for that shit with the Interplay games.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was then front and center in all of those.
Yeah, and then it went so far as Sulu and the Excelsior was supposed to make the final shot, and again Shatner said, "No, I'll make the final shot." And again, I'm not saying that it hurt the movies necessarily. It's just, it's so funny when you go back and then think about this. Galaxy Quest was heavily written around the interactions of the crew, and it's beautiful because like the Taggart's blow up in the movie is exactly what Shatner did. But because Shatner did have a breakdown, and I think that's where he started realizing, I can't be so serious about this. I can't think that it's me and nobody else, because he lost it on people who wouldn't leave him alone about how he was the captain.
We're talking about people using his ego he was known for back then in media. What do you think they were doing with Big Giant Head in Third Rock?
Mm-hmm.
The way they played him into it.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, it just... You know, and again, not to the detriment of the movies.
Right, but where are we going with this again?
Just, we're talking.
Oh.
Okay, so, anyways.
Chris's ego went on a tangent about egos. That's where we went.
You know, it happens. Okay, so, let's go to this. What's your least favorite of across the board?
Into Darkness.
Into Darkness.
Maahr?
Into Darkness.
Fuck that. Okay. I have to go on a bit of a rant here.
Go right ahead, because...
So, I listened to 2 books on Audible called The 50-Year Journey, or 50-Year Voyage, I think. And it was all about Star Trek from day 1 to the 50-year anniversary just before Star Trek Beyond dropped. And when it came to Into Darkness, they had quotes from Kurtzman and Orci, whatever however you pronounce his name, and when it came to the death scene, the Kirk's death scene, that they immediately retconned like 10 minutes later. That's removing any emotional weight. They were like, oh, it was brilliant. People just didn't get it. They didn't understand. And I'm like, shut up, you pretentious asshole.
How is it that we don't get it? Here's the thing: when a quarter of the way through a movie, when I know where they're going with this, and then I even get the feel like they're going to do what they ended up doing.
Like, okay, here's the thing about it though. That reversal, I thought that was fine. I don't have a problem with the.
I think it was lackadaisical.
Okay, sorry about that. I thought my computer was.
The idea of reversing it, if they had actually done it well, could have been really beautiful.
Yes,
but they did it horribly.
Yeah, but you could see what they wanted to do, and you could see the potential it had, and then they f***ed it up, and then they made it worse by negating it entirely 10 minutes later with Tribble.
Yeah.
Tribbles.
I think that...
Tribbles!
Yeah, I know. I think if they had picked... and I know they're playing this off of when the new Star Trek movies are supposed to happen. They're supposed to be during the original series, but we've already changed things. It's already a different timeline. Why did it have to be Khan? Why couldn't we find somebody that was reminiscent of Khan, not Khan, and actually do that and make that so it was.
Well, that's something that I might be able to explain because actually it's quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
If you think about the worst person of Star Trek,
Mm-hmm.
who would it be? It would be Khan.
Yes.
So they had to bring in Khan.
I don't know if you had
mean,
to because you're in a whole
honestly,
new timeline now. You could have made, and here's the thing again.
And
this is
here's another
J.J.
thing.
Abrams again.
Here's another thing. You know who was originally supposed to be in the first draft of the script? Gary Mitchell from Where No Man Has Gone Before.
See, that's it.
I thought that would have been more interesting, honestly, if they did Gary Mitchell instead of Khan.
You could have taken another step and not use Khan, but it was J.J. Abrams.
Exactly. That's my point. Is that he'll take the parts, and again, don't get me wrong. I like the new Star Trek movies, but I like them just as I'm going to watch a movie. I still cringe when they blow up Vulcan. I still cringe when they kill off Kirk and then flip it around and 10 seconds later it's all okay.
I also cringe at the fact that the phasers now sound like the Gould staff weapon from Stargate.
Yeah, that's I don't know.
And their pulses, why? Like, okay, the Wrath of Khan phasers being pulse beams made sense, like in the context of the movie, because it looked like it was like just the phaser beams, but fired that in that specific manner for, I guess, greater precision shots for hitting specific targets.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. We'll get off of that soapbox. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself or tell everybody about yourself one more time. Tell them where they can find you, what you're up
we're
to.
done?
Yeah, I have a stream at 7, and I still have to make dinner and stuff, and
Yeah,
I got to wrap it. But we'll do this. This is kind of an impromptu thing. I would like to do this more often. I don't want to take this from Rosetta, though, because this is Rosetta's thing, and Rosetta did get us all together, and so I really don't want to take from Rosetta.
Get them going again, but I actually like that you did this while I'm too busy to.
Well, and that's kind of why I did it.
Can I just say a quick thing as a preview for the next time Rosetta brings this together?
Sure.
Perfect. Then that's the way it shall be. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Good.
And then. But I do plan on doing some more of these. I just don't want to. Again, I want Rosetta to understand that we haven't streamed for a little bit. I like having her on. She likes being on, and I know we hadn't done this for a little bit, so I thought it would be a good all around mix. And I do plan on doing this, but this is not going to be necessarily a regular thing. And I'll try to think of different ways of doing this, so we're not talking about the same stuff as we might do on her stream. Like maybe next time we get together, we'll talk about our favorite devices and vehicles.
Or like pieces of Star Trek media outside of the show's movies.
Yeah.
Well, Rosetta, if you do that now, then you would have stolen it.
See, you see.
Just
I don't know. I went because I thought really bad things when he said devices.
Oh, Jesus.
Ew.
She's on a kick lately.
Why did you put that in my head, Rosetta? Damn it.
See, but you're the one that had the mental image. Merry Christmas.
I'm Jewish.
Happy Hanukkah.
It's August.
So I'm getting to it early. I'm notoriously late. In this case, I'm notoriously early. All right, let's go around the horn and let everybody know. Let everybody tell everybody else about themselves, where they can be found, what you're up to, all that good stuff. And Maahr, we'll start right back with you. Thank you first off for coming on today. I do appreciate it very much.
Thank you for that, and I like to be here. My name is Maahr Krell. I can be found here on YouTube. I have videos up with a little bit of thoughts of myself, and normally I would do cosplay conventions, but because of known reasons, there are at the moment. So that's something that's missing at the moment from my content, even though if I would have liked to make 1 or 2 more videos this year about cosplaying here in Germany. And of course, I do them in English, so everyone who's listening here can listen to me as well. And otherwise, I can be found on Rosetta Allen streams or Sci-Fi Nation, as well as DJ Odyssey, and probably here now too.
Yes, sir. Always welcome. In fact, not just for this stuff. I have some other stuff I can invite you on too. If you're still up, because I know it's going on almost midnight there now, or past midnight. It's 12:42, isn't it?
That's actually not a problem for me because I have changing times.
Okay.
Because of my work back in the day, I actually have no sense of time anymore.
I don't either. That's just how it is.
I sleep when I sleep, and I'm awake when I'm awake.
Exactly. If you want to check it out at 7 o'clock today, on my channel, I have what's called the Weekly Rumble. That's my next one at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So that's, let's see here, 2 o'clock your time, 2 a.m. So if you are so inclined to check it out, that's a show. If you ever have time to do, I would have you on for. The invitation goes out to you also, Darth. I've had Rosetta on. I love having new people on it. But
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's go to Rosetta now. Rosetta, tell everybody about yourself, what you're up to besides trying to catch up on your artwork during my stream. No, it's cool stuff. I mean, the Road Warrior Drake stuff, guys. Go check it out. It's just some really good stuff, and I mean, just Lasmat, he's got some really cool ideas with that, and with Rosetta, your coloring and your additions to that, it's beautiful work. You guys should go check that out, and I think he's met his goal. And
he is just under 100 away from hitting his stretch goal, where he'll actually be having some extra stuff done for people.
Yeah. So
I'll go ahead and give the link out to people for that. I've got that on my recall list here.
Well, just do me a favor. Message it to me in one of our chats, and I'll make sure it goes on the stream. I'll put it down in the description box. So not right now. These guys aren't down there, but everybody who was on the show today, I will put their links down in the description box so you guys can find them.
I'll drop it in the Star Trek chat since we're using it with this.
That's cool.
But yeah. And so I do a lot of that. I do my streaming, and my streaming is sometimes the Star Trek stuff I do. I do streams and chats with the Ian Slater and some others, and mostly I'm doing art streams at this point because I'm trying to catch up a million projects. And when I'm not doing those, I'm usually doing promotion streams for other artists and comic creators. So,
okay.
Yeah. And if we are on Rosetta stream, there is a lot of nudity and sexuality and toxicity.
It gets crazy over there. It gets absolutely crazy.
What are you trying to do to me?
She's like, don't tell people that. It just yeah. See, she gets embarrassed easy too. I don't know how, but she does. Anything else, Rosetta?
Just follow me if you can handle a crass, loudmouth, pain in the ass that's very artistic.
Yes, indeed.
She probably just got 200 new subscribers because of me. No need to
Hey, David, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. We're just wrapping up, but you're more than welcome to go back and look at the replay. All right, so Darth, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, where they can find you, what you're up to.
Hi, I am Anihilus. I do a lot of gaming streams on my channel, and I'm currently playing through Mass Effect, but I also have another one that I've been meaning to get back to for a long time, but I haven't quite had the motivation to get back to, and that is Tyranny. It's really good. I'm just lazy.
Oh, well.
I can't get Tyranny running for me.
So,
Really?
with that said, guys, I am chrisknight. This is the Real Review 3000. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'm looking to get up to 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I am currently sitting at 3,046, so we got quite a ways to go. But I know we can make it. What was that?
Nothing to scoff at.
Well, no, but so far everybody's been helping me out get there pretty quick, and normally about a month ahead of my goals. And once I hit 1,000, it's been going crazy. So, guys, if you do watch this, if you're not watching live, if you watch the replay, please, guys, go sub to everybody here. We'll have all their links in the description, including for Captain Trek. Everybody, guys, thank you very much. Let's just end it with a say bye-bye. Everybody say bye-bye.
Tracy.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to both channels, and make sure to check out our friends in the Fandom Minutes. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and BitChute, and you can also send us an email at sean@seanstackhousereacts.com and chrisknight@therealreview3000.com. Be sure to swing by our Teespring store to pick up some awesome merchandise.